Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, October 1st of 2023. I have a really fun message for you today. I ran across a person named Cory Muscara. I'd never heard of him, but I ran across him a couple of weeks ago, and he's apparently spent 6 months meditating 15 hours a day with a Buddhist monk. And he came away with a really great list of life lessons that came out of that experience. And I ran across this a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote them all down in my journal, and I've just kind of been really kind of doing my own little deep thought, maybe little mini meditations over these as different things come up in my life. Even just these past couple of weeks since I found this, I found it so fascinating how all you need to do is get still. And I know I talk about that all the time, but imagine getting still for 15 hours a day for 6 months. And of course, having someone guide you, which is interesting, right? To have someone guide you. But I think that when we go into that place, that deep place, we look at all of the parts of ourselves that we normally distract away, that some really deep truths came out. And as I've been kind of reading these through these last couple of weeks and really contemplating them, there's some really beautiful insights in every single one of them. So this list is from this man, Cory Muscara, and I think it's beautiful. So the first one is finding your true self is an act of love. Expressing it is an act of rebellion. I think we suppress who we are because we don't want to look bad at other people, look bad to other people. We don't want to be embarrassed about what other people think. I think that when we turn it inward and we really love who we are, it's easier to step outside the crowd. It's when you act upon the self-love that you have and you really express who you are, that is an act of rebellion. Because I think what I see happen, and it's just this, it's such a strange thing because people want to be the part of the crowd. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to have anyone make fun of them or to me, of course, no one wants to be made fun of, but I would so much rather be on the outside than following whatever the crowds do. In fact, that's always my first indication. If everyone's standing in line for something, I'm going to step away from that. It's not even an inclination I have, and I thank my parents for that. And that's an absolute huge one. So finding your true self is an act of love, and expressing it is an act of rebellion. Beautiful. Second one, a sign of growth is having more tolerance for discomfort, but it's also having less tolerance for BS. So, it's like, I think it really dawned on me pretty hardcore when I became a mom, and I was a young mom. I had my oldest Scott when I was 20, and really you lose yourself in the care of your children. And I think that to a certain extent, fathers do this as well. And you're willing to do uncomfortable things and be physically uncomfortable so that your children can be comfortable. And I think that this is such a beautiful thing, to realize. I know people who've never had kids, and it doesn't mean that they're not willing to get uncomfortable, but discomfort is harder for them unless they make a conscious effort. But you also realize that you have less of a tolerance for things that are just ridiculous, right? I really love that one. Here's the third one. Who you are is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Okay, it's who we are when we grow up with the conditionings, the programmings, the cultures, the religions, the expectations, the schooling, the things that we get when we're growing up. And we all have heard that we really get personalities solidified by the time we're like 6 or 7, because our brain is still developing and we're learning so much and so fast that who we are so deeply that carries us through life is formed when we're by the age of 7. So we might not be responsible. So it says who you are is not your fault. So who you are by the time you get out on your own is not your fault, but who you maybe become, if we add that word in there, is your responsibility. You get to choose. You get to choose how you frame the past, how you frame the present, how you frame how things are right now. Because you can completely change your life. If you think you're a victim of things that happened in your past, you can look at them completely different. And I sent a link on an email last week with a video interview with my nephew Ben, who was on the Ed Mylet podcast, and it was an amazing interview. One of his best, talking about this concept of reframing your past. And I'll put a link below this video to that video if you didn't get a chance to watch it. It's amazing. So I love the idea of personal responsibility of who we are. And it doesn't matter how old or how young you are. If you understand that it's not your fault, wherever you are, like how you were formed, because there's so many things that molded us and formed us, but it's your responsibility who you become. You know, that's amazing. Number 4, desires that arise in agitation or more aligned with your ego. Desires that arise in the stillness are more aligned with your soul. So when you're angry, you're agitated, and you have, you can take desires to be anything. And those are things that are more aligned with your ego. When those things arise, when you're angry, when you're agitated, when you're upset. But desires that you have that arise in the stillness, those are the things that align with your soul. I think that one's so beautiful. Number 5, procrastination is a refusal or inability to be with difficult emotions. I mean, that one that just says it all right there. So when we procrastinate things, it's because to me, there's difficult emotions that can come along with that. We just don't want to do it. We don't like it. Or, procrastination can be along with the scope of everything. That one is good. Number 6, the moment before letting go is often when we grip the hardest. Right? Says it all. Number 7, you don't find your ground by looking for stability. You find your ground by relaxing into instability. Again, that says it all. What you hate most in others is usually what you hate most in yourself. This one kind of hit me hard. There's been just a couple of situations with a close family member and also a close friend that really shook me. And I went back and I was reading through this, and this one just jumped out. What we hate most in ourselves, or what we hate most in others, is what we hate the most in ourselves. So when you find yourself judging someone for even little things, do you judge people who don't dress well, or who are maybe a little overweight, or maybe they aren't very fit, or maybe they drive a beat up car? I think when we throw out judgment, what we hate the most in others is what we hate the most in ourselves. That was just an epiphany that he had during this meditation. I think you could really take a look at that and pick it apart and dive down deep into things that you find yourself hating or judging in others, right? The next one, the biggest life hack is becoming your own best friend. Everything else is easier when you do. Imagine your life not dependent on, what other people not only think of you, but if you have someone to be with, or you have someone to go to dinner with, or you have someone to sit at home with. Becoming your own best friend is, really learn to like yourself. That is such a beautiful thing. The more comfortable you become in your own skin, the less you need to manufacture the world around you for comfort. I've found this to be so true with so many things. When you just become comfortable with who you are, you don't have to manufacture the world around you for comfort. You just are comfortable. And that can be physically, that can be emotionally, that can be psychologically. It can really, really be for anything. An interesting thing happens when you start to like yourself. You no longer need all the things you thought you needed to be happy. Yeah, that one's beautiful. If you don't train your mind to appreciate what is good, you'll continue to look for something better in the future, even when things are great. So this is, the glass is half full. Always look at the bright side. count your blessings, live in gratitude. If you don't train your mind to appreciate what is good, you'll continue to look for something better in the future, even when things are great. I think that me and my husband have this joke when something comes up that seems like it's kind of hard or it's annoying or whatever. And we kind of have this little joke that one of us might throw out at the other that it's a first world problem. It's like, it took 2 minutes for the shower to warm up. And it's like, you really have to laugh at those things, right? Okay, so the belief that there is some future moment more worth our presence than the one we're in right now is usually why we miss our lives. I think we keep looking for things to get better, and so, like I said, someone else to be in charge politically, and someone else, we keep waiting for things to get better, and this is how we miss our lives. We can miss it completely. And this is why I think it's so interesting when you hear people say, time is going so fast. Where did the last year go? This year was gone in a blip. If you find yourself saying that, man, step back, take a deep breath. This is a beautiful life that we have, regardless of all of the, interesting things going on right now, right? So here's the next one. There is not a set of conditions that leads to lasting happiness. Lasting happiness doesn't come from conditions, but from learning to flow with conditions. Perfect. We need to get out of the alignment with the rest of the world to get back into alignment with ourselves. And I think that one right there is more true than ever. We need to realize that intuitively who we are as conscious beings of God, of creation, that we are a piece of source. We are a piece of God. We are a piece of energy, this beautiful source consciousness. And the more alignment that we become with that, the more we'll realize that we're out of alignment with most of the things that are happening in the world. And I believe that people are discovering that. And it's actually pretty beautiful to not only see, but to talk to people that are having these really deep truths that are really pretty simple. I spent the majority of this week talking to people on the phone, which is a little bit out of the norm, but there's so much going on right now with the things that we're doing, and I've just had an opportunity to talk to a lot of customers too. And if you're one of those people I talked to this week, hello. A few of you said, I watch you every Sunday, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that, because it's fun to get on here and really share my thoughts and get your feedback. So, thank you for that. Okay, here's the next one. Real confidence looks like humility. You no longer need to advertise your value because it comes from a place that does not require the validation from others. Real confidence looks like humility. I find myself, especially because this journal thing has been so impactful for me, because when you write down thoughts and you get out ideas, they really absorb differently. And I think this is true for almost all people, but most people just don't do it. But what I find is that when I'm in a social situation especially, and there's stories and conversation going back and forth, and sometimes it gets loud and people are talking over each other and pushing their story in, and what happened with them that has to relate to that. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that and also have done it, and maybe it's a part of who you are, and you might not realize that it's so nice just to sit back and listen. And I've gotten to a point where, I hear someone say something that maybe the facts are a little bit wrong, or, and it just doesn't matter. And me prior to this would even jump in and make that slight correction. And at the end of the day, you start to realize it just doesn't matter. And it's so nice to be in that flow where you don't need, I'm so confident in who I am at this point that, and here's an example. We had dinner with some friends this past weekend, and it was absolutely lovely. And there was a moment where me and the woman we just were able to sit together. Our husbands were they were not sitting with us, and we had about 15 minutes to chat, just her and I. And surprisingly, it surprised me, it turned a little political. And I already knew, we've known these friends for many, many, many years, 3 decades, long time. I already knew that we lean differently politically, but and she knows that she also knows that we're different. And it was interesting to me because we still respect each other, we love each other, we laugh, we love each other, and it's a wonderful relationship. In fact, they really became some of our very dearest friends during all the times when we weren't able to socialize, or we were told we couldn't socialize with each other in these last 3 years, right? At the beginning especially. But we were having this conversation and it turned political. And I was kind of like, it turned, it was not at me, but there was a person that she dislikes so much that she said she would actually vote for, I even hate to say this, but she would vote for somebody who was a very historical figure for mass human genocide over this person, this political person she hates so much. And when she first said it, I was thinking, I actually kind of laughed a little bit, like, well, that's a pretty strong hate for that person, but you would not vote for this other person. And she was like, no. And it was interesting because what I found is I was not triggered at all. I was mostly curious. And here's what I would like to really maybe bring up about this, because I've found myself in the past trying to vehemently raise my voice a little bit, tell people that they're wrong and can't you see it from this perspective, and I've lost any desire to do any of that. And I said a couple things like, do you think this is based on your perception and the things that you watch? I said, we all are like that. And it was just the most interesting conversation because I was zero triggered, and I actually was surprised at myself, because a conversation like this in the past, and even, at the beginning of the whole 2020 thing, might have triggered me. It might have triggered me. And I'm grateful for that amount of growth that I've had. So interesting. Negative thoughts will not manifest a negative life. Negative thoughts will not manifest a negative life, but unconscious negative thoughts will. There might be an unconscious negative loop that's going in your mind, and you might not even be aware of it. And this is where we have to go, okay, wait a minute. What is that loop in my brain saying? So you might just have this negative loop. You might not realize it's negative. That's a really, simple thought, but that is a very deep thought. This one is good because I found myself doing this. Bullying yourself into enlightenment does not work. You must befriend yourself to transcend yourself. And again, these are all from this person, Corey Mascara. And, that's perfect. You can't bully yourself into becoming an enlightened human being. You have to befriend yourself to transcend yourself. I love that. There are 3 layers to a moment. 3 layers to a moment. Your experience, your awareness of the experience, and your story about the experience. So be mindful of the story. Wow, that's great, right? Your mind doesn't wander. It moves toward what it finds most interesting. To improve focus, become curious about what's in front of you. These are so great, right? Next one, life continues whether you pay attention to it or not. It's the passage of time that can be so scary. So life's going to go on. Life's going to happen whatever it is you choose to believe about it. Life is still going to go on. So you get to have the experiences that you choose. You get to put labels on them that are either good, bad, indifferent, beautiful, but it's the passage of time is gonna pass, regardless of what you think. But you this is a reminder to pay attention, to pay attention to your life in the present moment. And I will find myself sometimes when I'm kind of sitting in stillness and not really meditating, but even thinking about my journal, I'll like kind of glaze and just kind of stare. And I'm usually sitting outside when I'm with this because we still have beautiful weather here. And I find myself, my mind is just going. And you know how there's that game where you play where you whisper something in someone's ear and it goes around the circle and it ends up being something completely different? Like, have you ever like thought of something and then you end at a completely different topic, completely different thing, and it's because our mind wanders. So I think the thing is to pull ourselves and our attention back to the present moment. You know, that's what I took out of that one. High pain tolerance is a double-edged sword. It's key for self-control that can cause us to override the pain of being out of alignment. And I think, you know, what I took out of this one is modern stress. I think we are so used to stress. We are so used to it that, and we managed to go through our life. We managed to stay fairly healthy. We managed to get our job done and take care of our kids and take care of our spouses and our partners and all of that stuff. We managed to do all of that, not realizing that we have that's like a high tolerance to stress. So high pain tolerance is a double-edged sword. It's key for self-control, but can cause us to override the pain of being out of alignment. So when we override that sensor of pain, because pain and getting in that discomfort can serve us, but when we override that, it's basically we are overriding our ability to become in alignment. You know, that one, I mean, these are all so great. This one just felt like, yeah, we like to pride ourselves in, look how much stress I can handle. Look how much pain I can handle. You know, it becomes this badge of honor, right? Okay, here's the next one. This one's fun. Peak experiences are fun, but you always have to come back, okay? Learning to appreciate ordinary moments is the key to living a fulfilling life. You know, I think about how you feel when you're out having a peak experience. And, you can think about maybe your wedding day or your child's wedding day or the birth of your child or eating at a 4-star restaurant or, you know, taking yourself on a zip line or any peak experience that maybe gets your adrenaline running, or it's so vibrant, and these are usually so rare that it's hard to really appreciate all of those ordinary things that make life truly, truly, truly fulfilling, right? Learning to appreciate ordinary moments is the key to a fulfilling life. I love that one so much because it helps me appreciate everything when I might be in a little bit of a lack kind of a feeling, like why don't things happen faster? Why is this person bothering me, or whatever? Okay, so here's the next one. You cannot practice non-attachment. You can only show your mind the suffering attachment creates. When the mind sees this clearly, it will let it go. You know, that one's perfect. If you need to listen to that again, just hit rewind. Meditation can easily become suppression. Don't use concentration to avoid what is uncomfortable. And this comes from a person who meditated for 15 hours a day for 6 months. So meditation can easily become suppression. Don't use concentration to avoid what is uncomfortable. Okay, there's only just a few left here. Here's another one about meditation. Meditation is not about feeling good. It's about feeling what you're feeling with good awareness. Plot twist. Eventually, that is what makes you feel good. Okay, that one's great. For those of people who meditate and meditate on a regular basis, that is something you can absolutely relate to, right? Some of the deepest peace we can experience is living in integrity. Ooh, we can lie to other people about who you are, but you cannot lie to your heart. Some of the deepest peace we can experience is living in integrity. You know, we can constantly lie to other people about who we are, but we can never, ever lie to ourselves. We know what's in our heart. And so apparently getting deep peace means living with pure integrity. And I think it's one of those things that's like a muscle. The more you do it, the better it gets, the stronger it gets, the easier it is to be and live in integrity. And that's something I think we all strive for, just for our character, for our peace of mind, for our ability to walk through this life with peace. I think that does require integrity. I think that's beautiful. Be careful not to let the noise of your mind overpower the whispers of your heart. Beautiful. Life is always happening in just one moment. That's all you're responsible for. And I think, being in the moment, let's make this whole little chat today about being present and not letting time pass us by, and say, where did the year go? Where did the week go? I can't believe it's Friday already. Or I can't believe the weekend's gone already. Let's look at all these little moments and extend, think about how much we can extend our lives if we are more present in every single moment. We can literally add years and years to our life because we're living in every moment and we're appreciating that. Oh my goodness, I love that. Monks, I'm going to read this because this was one of the ones he wrote, and there's only one more after this. Monks love to fart while they meditate. The wisdom of letting go is expressed in many forms. And I guess this comes from a person who got to hear that for 6 months of lots of meditating. That one is great. Okay, so here's the last one. You can't life hack wisdom. You have to do the work. I thought this was just such a great list, and I was really writing these down because I wanted to have them in my journal. And then as these last couple of weeks have gone by that have kind of referred back to this, I've actually got quite a few pages written after that. But I just thought, wow, this would be kind of a fun list of ideas that came from this person that did all this deep work. And I think most of us don't have the luxury or the ability to go spend 6 months meditating for 15 hours a day with a Buddhist monk. I think that's a luxury that most of us don't have. I think that was a huge top priority. I think the human will and human nature can make it happen, right? I think we find ways to get things done and do things that are important to us. And we might maybe need to go in debt a little bit, but I think that when there's a will, there's a way. And living in the present moment is maybe the biggest message of the day as things continue to stay interesting. I would encourage you to totally stay on your toes, but don't forget to live and love and appreciate the people around you, and really, really, really pay attention to this beautiful physical body you have. This is the vessel that takes you through this life and helps you appreciate the moment. If you're in constant pain and all you can focus on is how much your body hurts, if you've got 50 pounds to lose, it's not rocket science how to do that. If you don't have any weight to lose, but you're out of shape, this is your vessel. This is your vehicle. And life will be so much more vibrant, and you can be so much more present when you are feeling good in this body. And I know that from experience. I've had moments in my life, and even like last year when I was rehabbing my knee, I was down for a while, and everything I did was painful. But I think that this is just such a beautiful reminder of this gift we're given. And here's the thing, guys. Our bodies are so resilient. And when they start to get the right tools, they can heal and repair and rejuvenate so freaking fast. I don't think we have any idea. When I have moments where I will splurge for a while and I think, okay, I need a break from maybe too much food, maybe an extra glass of wine here and there. And I literally give myself, I say, okay, I'm going to do this for the rest of the week. I'm going to eat really clean. I'm not going to have any wine. I'm going to, I have my exercise down. I sleep very well, all of that stuff. My thing is I love good food and I love a nice glass of wine. But when I make a decision to say, okay, I just need to dial this in a little bit, I'm telling you, within 1 or 2 days, even 24 hours, if I just dial my nutrition in, and I'm talking about eating close to nature as possible, whole foods, like grab a banana for breakfast, that's it. Or don't eat anything until lunch and then grab a banana for lunch and then eat an apple. If you can't do, maybe you might not be able to do fruit. Do what you can do, but eat as close to nature as possible. And then eat smaller amounts. I think we put so much food into these bodies that we numb ourselves. And you would be surprised how fast you can feel so good in this body by just giving it a little bit more attention and nourishment, and be willing to get uncomfortable, because I think a lot of us use food as a crutch. I deserve it. I deserve to have this. I worked hard today. I deserve to, I think we deserve to treat this body bad. Our body deserves to be treated with the utmost love and respect. And part of that is what you allow in. And then how much energy do you output to keep it active and keep it moving? I really didn't expect to go off on that, but that just felt so freaking appropriate, because to be in the moment and enjoy this life before it just passes us by, we have to be in our physical body with the best health that we possibly can. And everybody's different. I know that. Everybody's a little bit different. So what do you think about that? I would love to hear what you think. Almost 32 minutes in, I think this has been such a great list of things to kind of bring into our awareness. There are actually 31 things I wrote down. So I would love to hear which one of those resonated the most with you. Drop me a comment. Let me know. What is the thing that kind of jumped out at you and said, oh, that might be something I can work on this week, or that was just a big epiphany, or yeah, you know what, I do that, and it's true, I feel good when I do that. I'd love to hear what is your favorite one of those 31 things. So hit the thumbs up, drop me a comment, subscribe if you're not, and I hope you have the most beautiful Sunday and the most beautiful week every that's ever possible. So have a beautiful day, guys, and we will see you next time.